Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about why, very quietly, the last Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 19, has set something up in regards to Momoshiki that needs to be discussed even further, and I don't believe it's by mistake that this was done only a few chapters after Boruto warned Kawaki that Momoshiki hijacking his body is still a problem and that he has permission to kill him the next time Momoshiki emerges because Boruto can't control his power. That should have been a moment to put everyone on notice about Momoshiki, and if you're still on the fence about the threat that he poses, this video should push you all the way over that fence. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explain video where we take a look at why Chapter 19 has just made Momoshiki an even bigger threat than before. We are continuing to build towards that eventual Momoshiki return. Also, if you've not seen the chapter review, it's up on the channel. We got it up a couple days late, but the editor maintained the quality that you gotten from the other 2 Blue Vortex reviews, which I'll leave the latest chapter review in the description box and the end credits for anyone who hasn't seen the review. I thank you for your patience and your understanding. So let's dive into why Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 19 has positioned Momoshiki as an escalating threat to Boruto and his allies, weaving together intricate details that have been provided in the narrative that highlights his growing danger, his exploitation of Boruto's vulnerabilities, and how this arc mirrors and even serves as an inverse to the classic tale of Momotaro the Peach Boy. So Momoshiki's growing threat, it's basically him continuing to be a silent parasitic powerhouse. Say that 3 times fast. Parasitic powerhouse, parasitic power, I can't even say it. All right, so Momoshiki's resurgence as a major antagonist, it stems from the unique fusion of his consciousness with Boruto, a consequence of Boruto's resurrection in the earlier chapters of the series. This isn't just a physical takeover, it is a mental and spiritual entanglement. When Boruto attempted to wield the Karma Seal during Sasuke's defeat by Code, Momoshiki nearly seized control, leaving Boruto with this sensation of dying while remaining fully conscious, a traumatic experience that has instilled very deep fear of using karma into Boruto. This fear of Momoshiki's foothold, a crack in Boruto's resolve, it widens with each emotional blow that he's getting. Chapter 19, for instance, amplifies this threat by showing how much Momoshiki has gained from this merger. So allow me to explain, though Boruto's mind is Boruto's mind right now, Momoshiki also has access to privileged intel from Kashin Koji's 10 direction ability, which grants foresight into future events. This knowledge includes potential outcome strategies and weaknesses of Boruto's allies. Pair that with Boruto's growing arsenal like Purple Lightning, Flying Raijin, Rasengan Uzuhiko, and Momoshiki becomes a walking arsenal of destruction. Imagine an Otsutsuki god, already a cosmic tier threat, wielding ninja techniques designed for precision and chaos, all fueled by this insider knowledge. Again, he has multiple nightmare scenarios that he could use against Konoha because he knows multiple outcomes via all the information that Kashin Koji has given Boruto. But the real kicker here is Boruto's desperation that we saw in the chapter. Momoshiki, as we know, likes to exploit this because he is a master manipulator. He is a gaslighter. He tried to gaslight Boruto into despair in part 1. Boruto right now, he's showing a frantic need to save Konohamaru from death, even against Kashin Koji's warnings that facing Jura would spell his own doom. It's pushing him into an emotional tailspin, and he's having to sit there and not do anything. Momoshiki is someone who thrives on this despair. He sees Boruto's love for his friends and his mentor not as a strength, but as a lever to pry open Boruto's weakening psyche. Every time Boruto hesitates to use karma, fearing Momoshiki's takeover, it paradoxically gives Momoshiki more room to whisper doubts and erode Boruto's control. Even though we don't physically see it, some words can be said without words having to be uttered. The presence of Momoshiki there is enough. That failed takeover after Omnipotence happened, it was just a preview. Now armed with Boruto's jutsu and foresight, and Boruto having to mentally grapple with what it is that he has to do, save the world, only he can do it by Kashin Koji's words, Momoshiki is poised to strike when Boruto's resolve will eventually crumble entirely. Now picture this. Boruto, cornered by Jura, activates his karma in a last-ditch effort to save Konohamaru because he went onto the battlefield. His fear, it just spikes. His mind frays, and Momoshiki seizes the reins, not just for a moment, but for an extended period of time, potentially even fully. What emerges isn't Boruto anymore. It's Momoshiki essentially reborn, even though he is not physically reborn because it's Boruto's body, wielding the flying Raijin to vanish and reappear across the battlefield, shredding enemies with the Rasengan Uzehiko, now amped up by the Karma Seal. And as we see, whenever Momoshiki uses Boruto's jutsu, he uses them better than Boruto, all while taunting Boruto's consciousness that is trapped with the visions of the future that he failed to prevent. And Boruto is aware of everything that is going on as it is happening. This isn't just a villain, it is a parasitic predator who has turned his host into a weapon against everything that Boruto holds dear. That's why Boruto freaking out in this chapter and wanting to go to the battlefield, it's so damn good. It's also the inverse of Momotaro. It is a twisted reflection if you don't know what inverse means. So Momoshiki's inspiration from Momotaro, the Peach Boy of Japanese folklore, it adds a fascinating layer to this dynamic. In the original tale, Momotaro, he emerges from this peach. It's a gift from the heavens, and he sets out to slay ogres that are terrorizing the land that he's in. He's recruiting allies like a monkey and a dog and a peasant along the way. He's a symbol of purity and courage and triumph over evil. Momoshiki, however, he is the dark mirror of this legend. He is an ogre born from a peach, if you will, the peach being Boruto's body whenever he takes over. And he's not trying to save the world, he's trying to consume it, which is why Kawaki wants Boruto dead. Because in order to consume the world, he's got to feed Kawaki to its intels. Where Momotaro unites his companions to fight a common foe, Momoshiki isolates Boruto from his companions, and he's turning his allies into potential victims or liabilities. It's a very clever inverse. That's why you guys hear me mention so much about folklore and etc. Because when you see where Ikimoto and Kishimoto are getting their ideas from, everything these characters do, it should be hitting on a harder level. I know some of you guys joke this is mythology explained, Shinto explained, but it's drastically needed, desperately needed, in order to fully appreciate what you're getting. Momotaro's journey is one of external conquest over monstrous threats. Momoshiki is an internal conflict, gnawing at Boruto's soul until he supplants it. The peach, traditionally a symbol of life and renewal, becomes a vessel for death and domination and destruction when it's in Momoshiki's hands. Again, Boruto's the peach. Even the Otsutsuki's godlike nature, it twists the divine origin of Momoshiki into something more profane, an alien parasite rather than a heavenly savior. That's why them being called celestial beings is such brilliant writing. The inversion, it sets up Boruto as the reluctant hero forced to reclaim his own story. That's why Boruto saying this is my story has a double meaning to it. Just like Momotaro facing the ogres, Boruto must confront the monster from within, the very same monster that in the first arc of the manga, Boruto had a moment where he saw himself in Momoshiki because of how Momoshiki was acquiring power. Boruto doesn't just have to save himself, he also has to protect the world from Momoshiki's eventual wrath. The narrative hints at this showdown. Boruto's plea with Kawaki to kill him if Momoshiki ever takes over echoes Momotaro's resolve to end evil, even at great personal cost. But unlike Momotaro's straightforward battle, Boruto's fight, it is ultimately a fight, a war of wills, where victory means mastering his fear and the karma that binds him. It basically means slaying Momoshiki mentally. Boruto's path to conquest, slaying his inner ogre. Boruto chapter 19 of Two Blue Vortex. It's planting the seeds for Boruto's eventual triumph, but it's a grueling road ahead. His fear of losing control, his fear of losing loved ones, it is a double-edged sword. It's now Momoshiki's strength, but it could also become, ironically, Boruto's salvation. The key lies within Boruto harnessing what Momoshiki underestimates: Boruto's human connections and resilience. Otsutsuki do not understand love. That is something that Boruto does know. Boruto is a byproduct of a father who broke the cycle of hatred. Boruto is love itself. Kashin Koji's guidance, Kawaki's loyalty to Naruto, even Sarada's unwavering support, potentially even unwavering, unrealized love. They are the allies that Momotaro had in spirit. They are tools that Momoshiki can't fully comprehend or counter. The turning point might come when Boruto, pushed past his breaking point, confronts the inevitability of karma. Instead of rejecting it, instead of fearing it, he learns to wield it to his own terms, using the foresight Momoshiki covets to outmaneuver him. Imagine Boruto baiting Momoshiki into a takeover only to trap him in a mental prison forged by his own willpower. Very similar to how Naruto eventually overcame Kurama and was able to construct a new prison for Kurama when he used his power, then exercising him. As a result, we know that at some point Boruto has to get rid of Momoshiki because Boruto and Kawaki each vowed to get rid of the Otsutsuki fate hanging over them. Right now, Kawaki's the only one. It's a poetic reversal. The hint might very well lie in the fact that Momoshiki views Boruto as a container to keep his soul there. Methods like Reaper, Death God, etc. can't be used, which I'll do a video breaking that down later on. It's pretty straightforward in my opinion. Again, I'll break it down. I'm waiting on the editor to get free to work on that. It's a poetic reversal. The boy who feared being a puppet is cutting the strings and slaying the puppet master. He has to do it himself. In a way, Boruto becomes Momotaro reborn, only he's not a flawless hero. He is a battered and determined one who conquers the ogre from within. Momoshiki's threat, it peaks as he leverages Boruto's despair, but that same despair could forge Boruto into a blade that ultimately ends Momoshiki, fulfilling the legend in the way that Momoshiki never foresaw, and also, again, paralleling the Momotaro story. So in chapter 19, it's not just a setup of Momoshiki's eventual rise and Boruto's fear of losing Konohamaru. That is surface level reading. It is a crucial element where Boruto's fear of losing a loved one and Momoshiki's unspoken arrogance that we're going to see later on is going to collide, promising a clash that could redefine the both of them. Momoshiki's danger lies in his parasitic brilliance, but Boruto's eventual victory lies in proving that even a compromised hero can outshine a corrupted god. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, which I hope you enjoyed this video, toot my own horn for a second. I think I did a good job of, bobbing and weaving all these different connections into it, but if you disagree, let me know. Again, I'm gonna toot my own horn. I did this one off the top of my head and I said, man, that sounds pretty good. Consider subscribing and clicking here to check out the chapter review if you ain't seen it already, or click here to check out this solo leveling video from my Anime Explained channel, where I talk about non-Naruto content in the form of video essays, explain videos, chapter reviews, and so much more.